Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Alternative Cycling Network, where we give you unfiltered and unsponsored hot takes on the bike industry. And once again, I am joined by my co-hosts. We've got Mike from Locked In, Eric from Spindati.
Pronounce the T.
Spindat. Yeah. And we've also got, and we've been teasing it along, you just posted it on the gram, a very special, mysterious international guest from across the pond who's going to give us some perspective on gravel in the UK versus the US. But before we jump into our super special guest, which I am very excited to chat with today, let's do some quick channel updates. Mike, let's start with you. What's been going on your channel?
So if you guys have watched it, I'm officially a full-time YouTuber, not by choice, but I'm here now, and I'm living the dream, apparently. So I'm doing this full-time for the foreseeable future. Hopefully it takes off. That's what I'm hoping for. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Shameless plug. This pays my bills now. And so
full-time YouTuber, yay!
Yeah.
Congrats.
So that's the video I just put up. I started a Patreon. I'm working on merch right now, so that's gonna be the next big thing I'm coming out with. And my budget tubeless setup is coming out hopefully tomorrow. As far as the video goes, I basically pulled a page and try to be as cool as Eric to, do stuff that with basically home items I have and to throw it together and hope that it works.
Oh yeah, brother.
So, hell yeah.
So Eric, what's been going on Spindati?
Spindat. I made my least favorite production of content of all time, which was a how-to video. People have been
it's rough.
bothering
it's
me
rough.
about. I hate making how-tos. It's terrible. It's how to build a wheel. It's not easy to explain. I think it turned out pretty good. It performed super poorly, really, really bad. And I knew that would happen. People who come to my channel don't come to see how-tos.
Right.
It'll probably do really well in the long run when people are like, well, I just want to watch, instead of a half-hour long video about how to build a wheel, here's this 10-minute one. And really it just focuses almost primarily on lacing the wheel, and then kind of quickly go over here's some really good reading points for truing and tensioning, because explaining it in a video is really hard.
Right.
And I just mostly, I hate when people say it's an art. I wanted to try and get away from that a little bit. It's a process of force. Anyone can do it. Just take your time. And that that was, I think that came across. Everyone took it really well. Everyone really enjoyed it. They're like, this is the best one I've seen. But I knew it wouldn't do well, and it didn't. So don't expect a how-to from me again in another 6 months. I hate making
2021 so maybe.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking about me making a how-to is making me mad right now. I'm upset.
Nice. So we've already got some great comments in the comment section. UK gravel, infant cranium.
Oh my god!
No.
Oh my god!
Or tot noggins. We'll have to ask our guests to get the definitive answer.
Yes, after this, please. Yes. Also, Eric, congrats on that video, because literally I tried to make that video 4 years ago with my old mechanic wheel builder, and we shot for hours this one night. Awful. So props.
It got done,
props.
but oh man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. So on Pathless Pedaled, I posted my review of the Marin Pine Mountain 2, which is a little bit of a change on the channel. Usually I review primarily drop bar gravel bikes, but I am expanding my horizons, no longer a drop bar elitist, and looking at some mountain bikes. So that review is up. And the most recent video, Laura and I did a bike fishing trip out in the northern Idaho area. So we camped out, rode these crazy roads, which used to be railroads that you can go up and down a river and do some fishing. And it's pretty nuts. North Idaho is like wild country if you guys ever get a chance to go. So
Been once,
I'll be there when your country gets their stuff together. I'll be there.
Right, yeah.
And you can show me how to fish.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be great. I'd love to film that. Just like,
I'll be like, this is stupid. I don't want to do this.
and just you just sunburnt. Yeah.
We're going to move on to the next part of the show, which is viewer bikes. And there is a theme to this this week's viewer bikes. I'm going to say that they're baller bikes to some extent because they're all very custom. And check out this one. This is the paint on the fender. Like, so much attention to detail on this one.
I do love the paint.
Yeah.
Like pinstriping. Pinstriping is an art. Wheel building isn't.
Yes.
Also, king cages. Like,
oh yeah.
Like anytime someone asks me about cages, I'm like, none of them matter. If you care, buy a king cage.
And speaking of king cages, this one has 2 of them.
Yeah, of course you can fit 2 because look at the size of that front triangle.
So is that person like 7'3" or what?
I don't know. I think maybe. So this is from Inside, I'm Outside. It says it's got a tucked rear end at 420. Just barely fits 700 by 42s with a GRX 2x setup, 220 millimeter long tapered head tube made with Columbus Life and Spirit OS tubes and braze-ons for days. And the builder is from Ontario, Canada, called the Flying Dutchman Frame Shop. So pretty sweet build and massive.
Eric can do a factory tour. Yeah.
Actually, this guy did send me. I knew I recognized this bike. He had sent me this bike before while it was being built. I knew I recognized it, and then he did send it to me painted, and I was like, "Holy moly, that is a huge adventure race machine." And we did talk about it. That's right. This memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, it's got some cool details. It's got the Radiolab Spork painted to match, and a whole heck of a lot of room inside.
Yeah. No,
Imagine
I like the
for cyclocross.
Oh god. Well, it's fine when you're 7'3". It's no big deal.
Wheels are touching the ground on me.
Yeah.
All right, so that is viewer bike number 1, and now to move on to our second viewer bike. And look at this custom paint once again. I told you that these were baller bikes, man.
Baller bikes and Chris King parts. It's just built to make me feel bad about every bike I own.
Mike, what do you think of the color scheme? This looks like.
It's a like I have to feel like I'm the only purple bike on this channel, so it's a little it's touching the feels, but not in a good way. But there's not enough sparkle. Like I want more like bling,
Sure sparkle, buddy.
Oh god. It's ruined.
Just gotta plug that in there for sale on the Pathless Metal
Russ,
site
this
there.
is why you picked it. See, people, if like this is what happens when he's like in charge of the hosting, he picks accordingly. Man, shameless plug.
Terrible.
It was a nice bike. It was.
Only made better. I mean, it's like multi colors, and this is kind of a wider shot of the bike, and I'm gonna need Eric here because he is our resident
French boy.
How do you pronounce this brand? It's a custom maker.
Mercredi. So Wednesday in French. Mercredi.
That doesn't sound right. Are you sure? I think we need another opinion. Oh!
Hey, how's it going?
Oh!
Super secret.
Mercredi. No, that's it. Mercredi in my very bad British accent.
Mercredi.
About the bike, so it's built by my best mate Adeline. She's actually Belgian, but from the French speaking part of it. And it's really like a labor of love from 3 of my different mates. So she built the frame, and then my mate Bobby from Colorburn Studio did the paint, but Adeline had designed. I actually took the inspiration from, do you ever have those like see-through phones? The like corded ones? from the 90s that were like completely plastic shell, and then all the like widgets and stuff inside were like the CMYK color.
I just
Yeah.
remember the Game Boys, the purple see-through Game Boy. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
I saw that and I was like, I need this paint. And then another mate, Mark, built it up for me.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my steed.
So
I'm afraid it is purple.
how much creative direction did you give them, or did you just say run with it, or did you have specific patterns in mind?
For the paint, it was just that the phone, but for the bike itself, is actually, dare I say it, it's actually a cyclocross bike in inverted commas, because I was getting really into cyclocross at the time, and I was like, make it cross but with big clearance, and so that's why I also have loads of space for a frame bag, which
Nice.
Eric wouldn't know about.
Right,
But,
'cause it's nice and tall. Yeah.
but no,
Well, and
it's
it's
perfect
also-
on the gravel too.
It's also got the elf hat GRX levers on it, so you won't fall off the front when you're going down.
Haven't fallen off yet.
What is the word for the type of gravel that I hate? The Copen what?
Oh yeah, we have to figure this out.
Kinder Copen. So someone had
Yeah.
there's this phrase that we use here in the colonies called baby heads. Is that to describe rocks that are the size of the...
No, that's what Russ uses for the size of gravel. Not because I live in the colonies. I don't say baby heads. I say big rocks. Like that's
I don't like it.
You guys have like a whole different language for describing every different like sediment type right through to rocks. I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like the kind of bouldery ones that you get to the end of the descent and you're like, ooh, my
Yes.
hands. Those kind.
Yes.
Yeah. We have a
See
few
how
of
you
those.
describe them? You're like, well, they're just kind of like, they're just kind of big. Yeah, Russ goes, well, they're baby heads. And I'm like, stop calling them that. I don't like that.
Wait,
at
no.
all.
What was the comment earlier? Tots craniums or something? I don't know.
Tot noggins. Tot
Tot
noggins.
noggins? Is that the more British version? I don't know. We're trying to figure it out.
There
No?
it is.
Okay, good.
Tot noggins.
Okay, good. Good.
So really, I'm surprised. Like you don't have more descriptive words for the varying sizes of gravels. It's just.
I think one of the biggest things about UK versus US gravel is we're just a bit behind the curve. A lot of what we do and aspire to be and look at is like, oh, look what they're doing in America. Doing all these like really cool events. Oh, maybe we could replicate that and put it on over here. And there is like a really rich off-road heritage in the UK, and a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, mountain biking started in the days when, and it was repack and all that stuff, but actually it was simultaneously starting in the UK. But I think the whole concept of modern gravel is probably more American led.
Yeah.
But there'll be somebody who fight me for that. I'm sure. Just like
Well,
across or something.
Let's learn a little bit more about our special guest today, Catherine Moore. Catherine bikes on the gram. You also started a podcast called Unpaid Podcast, and Catherine's also a contributor to, is it Adventure? Adventure, am I pronouncing it correctly?
Adventure.
And the
Adventure,
tour.
yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, we actually met you in Emporia.
Of course I remember.
You were walking down the street. I was like, "Hey, you're the GCN person. Hi."
Hi, I'm
Oh,
Russ
great.
from PLP.
I have a much
know,
smaller
yeah.
channel. So we're
That's
super stoked to have you on the show. So welcome to Alternative Cycling Network.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for joining. It feels a little bit validating for our little scrappy channel for you to be here.
True. Well, I mean, but like, she's like, okay, is it like, used to be on GCN, on now ACN? Does that elevate us, or is she like she's like, oh, COVID's happening? Does she like she like coming like
She's
you know
fronting it. She's
I don't
fronting
know. Okay, got it. All right. Just making sure. I have no idea.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about the differences in UK and the US gravel. So you flew over, you did Dirty Kanza. Was it a bit of culture shock? I know, Michael, you were kind of curious about like what the experience was like.
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that you notice when you do Dirty Kanza is Emporia is absolutely incredible. Like everywhere you go, there's signs and things in the shop windows saying like welcome riders, and it's just like super friendly. And the day before, it's just full of riders and bikes to look at and everything. And I think that's such a massive part of the race, or ride as it was to me, is that it's just this massive community of people that are all into the same thing. I think a lot of people talking about the US gravel say a lot about like wide expanses of gravel roads, and yeah, like wow, Kansas has that, right? So that was pretty cool. And I remember for the first section, so before you get to the first checkpoint at 50 miles in, I just literally didn't put my foot down once. Like you could just ride, and it's just like flowing, and no steep hills, which I was really happy about. But yeah, it's just incredible. And we don't have that kind of joined up network, I guess, in the UK. But yeah, like there's so much cool stuff going on in the States in terms of off-road riding. One of the best things about the Kanza or DK200 was meeting some new people that I didn't know before. So I ended up riding a lot of it with a now really good friend, Adam, and he was like, oh, you should come back out and stay with us, come and see Colorado. I was just like, okay. So I went back in October and stayed in Golden, which you guys probably know is like next to Boulder and Denver, and sampled a bit of the gravel and mountain biking around there as well, which was just amazing. So yeah, like I'm in love with the American scene, to be honest, which you could probably tell. But yeah, we got a lot to learn from you guys.
Like I'm curious, is it in the States? It seems like a pretty chill scene. The people interested in gravel, is it similar in the UK?
I think so, mostly. There's like a couple of different attitudes. There's like or maybe three. So like as you say, bike camping.
Oh, Eric! Burn! Burn!
Like the bike packing, touring side of things, and then there's like casual gravel riders, group social stuff, and then there's like the racing end. So that might be people that have done like cyclocross racing, but it's all taken with a bit of pinch of salt, which is cool. We've got quite a few like competitive things here in the UK, like hill climbs is a big thing, as well as cyclocross. So if you want to get like competitive, then there's plenty of other things to go to, really.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's surprising. Like for me, like the whole reason that me and my group of friends here in Canada started riding gravel so much was like road was dying out a little bit. We all like religiously race cross every cyclocross season. And we're like, we just kind of don't really like being on asphalt. And the sin of cyclocross bikes is, cross season ends, you wash your bike, and it tends to like hang around like while you're riding, your road bike or something else. And we're like, well, why don't we just kind of start riding these more often on dirt roads around here? Like, and that's like 5 or 6 years ago. And like, do you remember that? Remember when everybody was just riding cyclocross bikes off road?
I did the same thing. I rode cross like every season, and then I would just I moved to an area that had some dirt like kind of close, and that was like the move. Like, all right, well I'll do this, But I mean, it was hard to find tires. The gearing was crap. Like, you couldn't do a lot, I mean, for amateur cyclists over here, like I can't climb a 15% grade on like a 40 with a 32 in the back or on a good day or whatever. And so I was like, like I can do like some dirt, but it was limiting,
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, we all rode. Like I remember, like at that time, 38s were big, and we all rode.
Oh yeah,
like 14 mil internal width
rims,
like stock wheels off of everybody's
Canties,
road bikes with Canties and 38s that were just like this bulbous, like terrifying thing that if tire pressure was too low, you could feel it like squirming everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, most of my bikes are still like that, but like it was sketchier then.
Yes.
I don't know.
True.
I think the big similarity in the UK, and some of the comments have pointed this out pretty well, is that it's not that different from cyclocross in that we have a lot of mud and it is very wet.
Yeah.
So like quite often, like if I'm reviewing a bike or something and it's like spec'd for global use, we just take the piss out of like the American market or whatever, because you basically have road tires for gravel.
Yes.
And I guess comparatively, we have mountain biking tires, because like even now when it's the height of summer, you'll always find muddy patches and like really grim, slippery stuff. So there's certain tires that like people rave about in the US that we just wouldn't go near.
You're like, those are so like you wouldn't go for like a Panaracer Gravel King Smooth on any of your bikes.
No, like, that's a death wish. That's it.
We kind of just joke about every time we see them because they've got gravel in the name, and people are like, "Oh yeah, cool, gravel."
Just
that
big.
And then anytime you see anyone in the UK riding one and just like their back wheel going like this, you've got to learn.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
So what's your go-to tire for the gravel that you have there?
My go-to is always the same and quite predictable. Is a WTB Nano.
Okay.
So it's like
it's a great tire.
grippy enough for the winter, and then I just keep it on all summer as well because I just really like it.
Yeah.
Have you tried the Rattler, the new one?
I'm waiting on that one. Yeah.
I had it on a test bike, but it's like the conditions weren't very challenging, so it rode great, you know. So
it's just tough, like horses for courses, isn't it?
I had the Riddler. Yeah, I've tried those, but the Rattler, WTB in the States is like still kind of not doing a whole lot because of COVID. But the Rattler, the Riddler rides really nice. So the Rattler, I'd be really excited about, like just being a more aggressive version of it. I mean, yeah.
I started on the Riddler, but the Nano's good for me because it's like pretty not sluggish on the road either. But I've just done a wheel swap with a mate who wanted to try 700s, and he's only ever had 650. So I've got his 650s with byways on.
Yeah,
so
way different.
Yeah.
Way different. So you're gonna find the limited grip real easy.
Yeah. I'm just gonna celebrate the real nice days.
yeah. I did a ton of miles on them. It's something where they roll really fast on the street. When you're in something where you're leaning over and putting power down, they do this weird like kind of hook, and then you kind of straighten up. So they got a real aggressive shoulder, so they'll save you. You just got to kind of lean into it, so to like ride through it. But in my experience, at least, so
sounds spicy.
Oh yeah.
So Eric, you mentioned something like the kind of the decline of road cycling. Are you seeing something similar over there? Is it less popular, or is it still as popular as ever? I mean, you've had the most recent like TDF champions, so
I don't think that site, like, as much as we'd like to think that some of our sporting heroes have a massive impact, I think that's really easy for us as like people that watch a lot of professional cycling to feel inspired by, but the general public maybe not so much. I heard somebody say quite recently that they thought that the current lockdown and coronavirus epidemic in the UK was having more of an impact in getting people active, both through like walking, jogging, cycling, than the London 2012 Olympic Games, which I wouldn't actually be surprised by. Like, it's incredible at the moment, and the government are pumping like 2 billion into cycling infrastructure and promoting cycling in the UK. At the moment, people can get a £50 voucher to get an old rusty bike out of the shed done up from the government. So They're like trying to
It's
help.
like cash for clunkers for bicycles.
Yeah.
What the
to
hell?
help
We
people,
need.
like,
Do
get
we
them
start
on
an
the road.
ACN petition for this? Like, what the hell?
Right.
Like, that's awesome.
I
love that.
The government's like really behind getting people on bikes, and I think that's getting more novice cyclists in, which is amazing. I think, I don't know about you, but my attention span is pretty short. So I started out as a roadie and then like accidentally fell into cyclocross and gravel, and that's been my obsession for the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got a mountain bike. It's actually quite good. I've been with it for a long time. So I think there's like a natural thing when you get really into bikes is to go for the cliche N+1, N-1, whatever
Right.
it is. And I think there are a lot of road cyclists that are actually like getting a bit fed up maybe of some of the drivers on the roads, or like doing the same thing all the time and just want to do something a bit different and getting into gravel. But it's definitely booming over here, that's for sure.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting point because the bicycle retailer announced this study. I think we talked about this a couple of episodes again, but bike sales are just going gangbusters here in the U.S. too. Like you can't find a bike for, all the bikes like at that $1,500 and below price point are selling out.
Yeah.
And there's this kind of decoupling, right? We've been always told that, we need the sports, you need these sponsored teams to sell cycling. And in the year when there's literally no racing, there's more people biking more than ever. So it kind of breaks that story that, we need the athletic side to get more people on bikes, when the truth is that, when cycling becomes convenient, when the government puts some infrastructure money in place, when gyms close, it makes a bigger impact.
I think there's so much work to be done in terms of like encouraging beginner cyclists or just like average people. And just like what you do is just talking about like what you can wear on a bike that isn't, what do you guys call it? Spandex?
Like
Lycra.
we call it lycra.
Yeah, just cool stuff like that. That's not elitist or snobby or ego,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe racing, doesn't have as much of an impact as we thought.
Yeah. Gravel casual. Next big thing.
I love it.
Grab cash.
I got inspired.
Cash.
I got inspired and I went on the search for a shirt hunt.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh, go for a Patagonia fly fishing shirt."
Oh yeah.
Then I looked at the colors and I was like, I like quite vibrant colors usually.
Right.
This is a bit drab, isn't it?
All right, Catherine. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I just couldn't find anything decent, so I ended up with a Dickies shirt.
Oh, nice.
And it's like full Hawaiian. It's great.
Nice.
Oh,
And it's not very technical. It doesn't breathe very well.
But it looks great. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Cool. Well, you guys in the YouTube comments, if you have any questions for our super special mysterious, well, it's not mysterious anymore, for our guest Catherine Moore about riding the Grab in the UK, let us know in the comments below. And you're at the 28-minute mark, so it's a good time if you haven't already to hit that like button, and it really helps the video and all that good stuff. So cool. So we've got someone here. I'm in the Peak District. Lots of gravel and scenery is stunning, but the roads can feel a busy place. Cities are a whole different and terrifying affair. How hard is it to get to kind of just gravel roads in the UK? Are there just regions that are more apt to it?
You see, when you say gravel roads, that's the tricky bit.
Okay.
So what we have, right, to explain, is all these different types of tracks, and some of them you can ride on a bike and some of them you can't. So you can't ride on a footpath, that's just pedestrians. You can ride on a bridleway, so that's pedestrians, horses and bikes. You can ride on a byway, so that's pedestrians, horses, bikes and motorized vehicles. You get like motocross or scramblers or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'll be like fire roads, which are actual gravel roads. But the majority of stuff that we ride, especially in the southwest, is just bridleways. So it's actually more likely to be single track or double track, but not really gravel roads like you know them, which makes things a bit more interesting, perhaps, when it comes to the like more roady side of the gravel spectrum. And I think I had like a bit of a thought the other day because I put together a load of routes near my hometown, which is Bristol, in the southwest, and I put together these routes for people to go and try and lock down because you're allowed to do one exercise a day at this point. And somebody tried one and they came back and they were like, great route, but this part was really dangerous on a gravel bike. And you're going to, really do your gravel bike some damage if you ride this part. And I was like, oh, well, like I've been riding it fine. It is like, what do you call them? Like there's a few baby heads.
Baby
Like,
head.
No, Catherine, no, you can't say it.
It's actually tot noggins. Tot noggins.
Don't encourage the future use of baby heads, please. Do not bring that overseas. I swear to God.
It's pretty grim, isn't it? But like, you could, I was fine with it. If you're not comfortable, get up and walk. And I was thinking, like, are we massively misselling gravel in the UK? Are people seeing all this imagery of like massive US gravel roads, like going on for miles and being like, oh yeah, that's fairly straightforward, when in actual fact, it's actually like sometimes quite technical. And you could definitely get to those sorts of places in areas of Scotland or mid Wales where you get more forestry and stuff. But I think gravel is a really misleading term for the kind of curly bar, drop bar off-road thing we have in the UK.
Right.
But also like skill has a big play in that. So like Catherine, like I ride 650 like 2.2s like on my gravel bike. Like that's for comfort and traction and my lack of skill. So yes, like I could someone on 45 700s or 40s or whatever could probably do the same trail. I can't. So that's it's very varying on skill set. Really does accommodate for tire size.
And part of that's experience as well. Like it's hard, isn't it? If you're like a really experienced cyclist in one discipline to then go into something else, you kind of like, well, I've been riding for years. I'm going to be great, and then you're like, oh no, I have to go back to scratch. Like that's me at the moment with mountain biking, and it's amazing. I love it because you can see your progression so fast.
Right.
But you kind of have to be a bit humble, don't you? And I think, hang on, somebody just said something in the comments. Was it Karina was saying that like a lot of our gradients here are pretty severe. In Kansas, it was amazing because you didn't have to get off once, whereas half of our gravel riding here is actually hiking. Depending on where you go, of course.
Yeah.
But like, it can be pretty tough.
Yeah, there's stuff around like that I've ridden locally here that's 15 to 20 something percent, either ascent or descent. That like you gotta have. I'll put a mountain set up on my bike just because I'm like I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Absolutely. For Grinduro last year, doing I think it was about a 11 to 15% average for 13 miles. Like I can't do that. Like consistently. Like no, I'm good. Like I'm out. Like after that. Like yeah. So I get it. It's different depending on the state. Yeah, and the area for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, I think we're finding that too in the States when the first like kind of when the Salsa Warbird came out. We'll take that as like the proto gravel race bike. The engineers and designers are designing for the gravel roads in the Midwest, and they had fairly like narrowish clearance, and whereas riders in the Pacific Northwest, when we're living in Portland, it's mountainous. You've got the Coast Range, you've got the Divide here in Montana. Like that's not enough bike for the gravel roads. So even within the U.S., there's kind of like a strata of different types of gravel. So,
well, I mean, but North America, is so big. And I've made that argument in the mountain bike world forever, where you're all familiar with Pink Bike. Mm-hmm. You go on the forums there and everybody's like, downhill bikes are the only kind of bike. And unfortunately, East Coast Canada, I argue, does a really, really bad job of thinking for themselves. And our trails are not conducive to big 150 mils is kind of what you need, 160 type thing. And I'm like, hey guys, this is kind of the area that is perfect. And everybody's like, yeah, but the guys who ride Whistler say that downhill bikes are the way to go. I'm gonna get one of those. And I'm like, that we're like 13,000 kilometers away from there. I just don't understand why you would make your decision based off that. So and gravel bikes would be the same way. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if you, like for you, Catherine, if you do end up in every ride, there is some sort of wetness that, like, you know, people always give me a hard time on my channel because I'm always being like, you know, you're not supposed to put a tire this big on this bike, but I totally did. And if everything's not working quite right, it'll rub. And everyone's like, well, I can't do that because this. And I'm like, yeah, well, I can. So
Yeah. I say the same thing in California. I'm like, I don't need mud clearance because there's no mud here. So I was like, yeah, I'll push that up. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of manufacturers or bike brands in the UK, like they take maybe Kansas as like, oh, well, that's the home of the world's biggest gravel race, so let's base everything off of Kansas. You're just like, no. We need big tire clearances and we need a big range of gears. And like, you know how sometimes car manufacturers have different specs for different regions? So like the front seat will be a different way around, or there'll be different legalities in different countries. It's almost like we need, I was thinking this with the Specialized Diverge launch a few months ago. Like we almost need like the European model and the American model, and they have different tires and different gearing.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just a bit too complicated.
Yeah.
The only company I think that's close to that is Giant does like UK specific colors that are like usually better. Like I'll see like the Bike Radar review. I'm like, oh, that's a sick. Oh, we don't have that here. You know, like I get it.
I always think the opposite. I always see like amazing cycling kit and stuff coming out of the States. That's like,
well, no, okay, again, cycling
like,
kit. I'm talking, bike design. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, it's the same. Yeah, I think it's very true. It's messy in the car world. I can't imagine what it'd be like in the bike world.
True.
But I think it's
Wishful
true.
thinking.
I mean, yeah.
But at the same
Or
time,
you can just custom and pick what you want.
Yeah,
correct. Yes.
Right.
But you always want what you don't have anyway, right? So like no matter what you get in the UK, I'm going to be like, well, that's cool. I want that. Like I think everything, you know, on that side of the pond ended up like was spec'd with SRAM stuff way before the North American market ever really saw stuff built with SRAM. I found, like, I don't know if you guys remember, like, Mike, you worked in a shop.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember when, like, every bike was still spec'd with
everything
Shimano,
was? I remember when we had a SRAM bike. Yeah, when we had a SRAM bike, and like you have customers be like, "How do you shift this thing?" You know, like you're just like, and I'm like, you just slap it, like, you know. I remember the first time I had to explain it, I had to look it up, and I was like, I don't know, because we never had it. It was like the first bike that had double tap. I'm like, and I went and wrote it, and I figured it out. Yeah, but it's weird how the adoption. I think both ways are the same. I think the 650 thing, was adopted differently. Same thing with group sets. I think there's a few things like that are very different depending on what where you're at.
Cool. We got a question here from Stuart Potter. He says, "What tire / wheel size do you prefer in the UK? Like, what would be your ideal setup?" My
go-to is 740. I think that's because when I was like training for DK200, I was like looking into the difference between 650 and 700, and I think I was getting very confused about the actual differences. But over long distance, I think it can make maybe a marginal difference, like slightly more efficient on 700s.
Sure.
So I was like, okay. And then I tried the 3T Explorer that I was riding for that with both 700s and 40s and 650B with 2.1 ranges, I think.
It's a big tire.
And it was a lot. And
it's a heavy tire.
Yeah, it felt really sluggish on the roads, I guess. And a lot of the UK gravel is those bits of tracks and trails, but interspersed by roads. So I stuck with a 700 in the end, and like that's been fine pretty much for me. If I want something more, then I'll ride my rigid mountain bike, gravel bike conversion thing, or a full sus.
Right.
Cool. So that 3T bike that you rode in that, did you get to keep it or?
No, it was like a sponsored video for GCN.
Right.
I had to send it straight back.
How much time? Okay, so here we're going a little. For like guys, this is the future. We're getting prepped for this. Catherine, like, what was the prep time for that? Like, did you get announced? Like, did you know, like, you're chosen for this? Here's the bike. You have X amount of, or was it like 2 weeks before it shows up at your doorstep and you're putting it together?
I think the idea was mooted in the office in the new year, like January.
Okay.
And it was June the 2nd, I think.
Okay.
And then we were waiting on like confirmation from the organizers, confirmation from the bike brand. And I think it was like, okay, this is going to go ahead in March. So I had March, April, May.
So
very long.
where were you at that point?
I mean, it's
like,
the middle of a UK winter.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So like, so that was okay. Yeah, that I mean, obviously, I don't know what winter is here in California. So
true.
So it's I mean, 90 days. That's pretty last minute in my experience, especially for the 200.
I've done quite a bit of like road long distance before. Nothing mega, but like I did a 300k Audax once, and I had just started. This was when I was in my cyclocross phase. So I just started some coaching with a local guy, Ollie, who used to be like British XC champ. He's really, really great guy, Ollie Beckinsale. And I was like, Ollie, we've just started this like CX coaching thing. We need to change it a little bit. Forget the 1 hour thing. We're going for a day.
From 45 minutes to 24 hours. Yeah, no,
pretty much.
Yeah.
And he was amazing because basically my training, I'm not very good at training. I just like riding my bike. That consisted of going out each weekend and doing just slightly longer. And it would vary between road and gravel. And then during the week, I was commuting. Let me do this in miles. About 30 miles, maybe 3 or 4 times a week. So that's there and back, not each way.
Right. Well, we don't know either way.
And so there'd be like some shorter, sharper stuff on the commutes just to make it a bit interesting. And then each weekend, just basically going for a long ride with mates, which was great. And we've got Wales on our doorstep. If you ever come to the UK, you must come and ride in Wales because it's absolutely incredible. And I think the hardest training ride I did was a 200k, so 120 mile sort of Audax thing that was mostly off-road in South Wales and the Brecon Beacons. And honestly, it broke me. We started at about 7 a.m. and finished just before midnight.
Oh, geez.
I was riding with 2 mates who were really fit. And it was really, really hilly. So the whole time I was like trying to keep up with them and dying. And that was actually harder than DK 200.
Oh, wow.
Because at least on DK, it was longer, but you ride at your own pace. And I'd learned my lesson. And it's not very mountainous either. So it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever did this at school, but like our teachers would try and over prepare us for exams and give us really hard mock exams, and then you go into the actual thing and you're like, this is okay actually.
I think the Canadian education system's like that, but I doubt the US one is.
Yeah, that's very true.
U.S. educational system underprepared, and you're like, oh shit. So, our friend, I'm assuming this is a Dave Gravelstoke. It's a party page sticker.
I did get some wonderful stickers from Gravelstoke. Thank you very much. I've got, I think, maybe half of them on the back of my laptop right now.
Nice.
Yeah, they're ace.
Cool.
But I couldn't choose a single favorite.
Yeah.
I could, and I can't stick it on anything ever. It'll always never get stuck to anything. And it's the Michelin man with the cyclocross bike on his shoulder from Deluxe Cycles in San Fran now. They're in San Fran now, aren't they? I have a magnet of it and a sticker of it, and I'll never be able to put that sticker anywhere.
So let's see. Any other questions?
That's another thing that you guys are really great at, stickers. When I came over for NABS last year, I was just like, came home with tons. Everyone's got like a bottle, haven't they? What do you call them? The massive bottles. Yeah.
Nalgene bottles, yeah.
Plastered in stickers.
It is true. We have no healthcare system, but we have stickers, man.
Hey, we're good at something over here.
So if you guys have questions for Catherine, let us know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, there are 106 people in the chat room. Give the video a like, thumbs up, all that good stuff.
And also subscribe to ACN for quality content like this.
Yeah. So Catherine, you have. It looks like you're venturing a little bit into YouTube. I saw that you contributed to the Adventure CC channel, and you have your own. Is that going to be a thing, or just dabbling?
I don't know how you guys do it. Honestly, the presenting thing, not so bad.
Yeah.
But filming yourself, oh my god, like that.
Well, we can all raise a glass to that because we're all currently
Cheers.
there. All right, Catherine, you're welcome to the community, and good luck to you. It's a rough road, if you will.
Yeah, I'm not blessed with the camera, that's for sure.
But that video I watched a few of yours. So who shoots video with you? Because you made the one that sticks out in my head the most is because I want to do paint stuff too, and you painted those fenders for your to emulate what you said, your mate.
Mud gods.
Yeah.
Your mud gods.
Like you didn't edit that like that, so you just shoot
did,
that.
Yeah.
And like
No, I did. I was using Premiere Rush as well, which is like super basic.
okay, yeah. Like I thought that video.
It's better than Windows Movie Maker. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, one step above. Yeah. But like, someone shot that with you, right? Like you had someone.
No, I had it on a tripod.
You did it? Okay. For some reason, I feel like I had.
And, like, charging the battery every 10 minutes. I don't know why video eats battery so much. Wow.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because I've got so many mates, friends, whatever you want me to say.
Friends.
Mates is fine.
That are videographers or photographers that I've like worked with in the past, or Bristol is a very like creative place. So they're all amazing at it, and I'm used to working with people that are like super slick. And then you try and do it yourself, and you're like, wow, these people really know what they're doing. Yeah. And even just editing, I was tearing my hair out because I had an old laptop that wouldn't do it at all. So hats off to anyone who makes. Yeah.
You just wait till you're like halfway through a video and you're like in a really good deep thought, and then your camera overheats, and then like it dies, and then you're just like, damn it, like I got to do this again. Yeah, so wait for that moment. Yeah, it's good.
See, I actually like editing. I mean, out of the entire YouTube kind of experience, the part that I dislike the most and is kind of like the most demoralizing is the comments, you know. But the creative process is fun. But waking up every morning to like a shit show of comments, it's just like, oh, why do I do this for so little money?
That used to literally be my job, and it was pretty. Yeah, like you just got to remember there's loads and loads of great people out there. But there's always going to be a few that
I mean, I think your guys' like your reach is so far, Russ and Catherine. I mean, you worked for a large channel, but like I don't like so it must be the bigger numbers that get like the meaner comments, because like I only get a few, and usually it's people talking about my ears and my nose. They're like, oh, you're disgusting. I couldn't even watch the video. I bet it's fine though. And I'm like, am I offended? I don't.
Yeah, but see, that's like a backhanded comment, Eric. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice though. That's like some.
Yeah. They're like, I could only watch 5 minutes, and I'm like, well, the analytics here say everybody else could too, so it's fine.
I do think it is a problem that happens as a channel gets bigger. It's kind of like a house party, right? You start small, it's your kind of close group of mates, and then they start inviting their friends, their mates, and then they start inviting assholes after that, and then it just becomes like Animal House.
Right. It's just that I haven't invited any assholes yet. I think I need to work on that.
It's nice. I feel so liberated. I can put in the occasional swear word on this channel because it's not pathless pedaled. It won't get demonetized.
That's right. Yeah.
Sorry, I've probably already done that.
It's so nice to swear from time to time.
I know. All right.
Man.
So let's see. Any good questions here? So Gravel Stoke. Thoughts on gravel adventure bikes going towards 650B plus and wider 700C tires with some of the Envy Builders Show bikes? Yeah.
So
I've
650 plus though, that's like, I mean, that would be considered a 3.0 or bigger, right?
I think 2.6 is kind of the
Okay.
agreed upon, because the last 3-inch was it was only around for like a year in mountain biking, and then everyone was like, these tires are actually too big to have any tread on them, so that they'd be useful in like wet conditions. So they did find a nice middle ground. But I mean, you're right, that's a big tire.
Yeah.
It's a lot of meat.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it's good insofar as I probably wouldn't run that big of a tire, but it'd be nice to have that extra clearance. At least that's where my head is. It gives you more space rather than a bike being spec'd out for 700 by 45 and like having any amount of mud in it, like, you know, choking up. So, but
yeah,
yes,
I think 2.2 for a gravel bike is about as compromised as you're going to get, in my opinion. I think it's the biggest clearance you can get with the most like sidewall, so you get that like cushion. Anything bigger, you're getting like huge weight penalty as far as like how the bike's going to handle, and your wheelbase is so long, it's gonna just not going to track well. So for me, like a 2.2 to maybe 2.3. Like the All City Gorilla Monsoon clears a 2.4, and Russ, you reviewed that bike with the stock tires.
Did not like it.
That's a lot. Yeah, it's exactly. It's a huge tire. So I think 2.1, 2.2, I think is where, in my opinion, it should max at, and then depending on your area, it should be, you know, mud clearance accordingly. But I think that's kind of like the breaking point where that's a small tire now for cross country. And in my opinion, like a good cross country tire would be a very good like aggressive gravel tire in that width. So I think they should save those. If the brand needs to rebrand them, do it. But like a 2.2 650 is like really small nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to kind of what, what Catherine was saying, where like the gravel is such a loose definition, US gravel versus like the stuff that, if you're hike biking and hitting single track. Same can be said for the word adventure. Again, a bit of a slight scale. Some people would think that any kind of unpaved surface is adventurous, and for some, it's not until it gets kind
like
of
single
smaller
tracky
block,
and
like about that big.
I mean, my personal, because I am such a cyclocross freak, I didn't race last year, but like, and I will, well, COVID, so maybe not this year either. But like, I do like, Catherine, I do like your bike with 40s, space for mud, kind of looks like a somewhat traditionally cyclocross bike, but instead of a 33, it's a 40. And I've said this on this channel before. I think the biggest anyone needs to go is 45. I even have 45s on. I don't know what they are. They're WTBs, and you guys were talking about them. I was trying to look at what I actually had. But I think I think they are 45 Riddlers, and I think they're too big, like for the riding I do. So when that bike, like when I skid that rear tire enough, it will not get a set of tires that big again. It just won't.
Yeah, I used to be really against 650B because the only time that I saw people using them in the UK was when they were trying to fit them to frames that didn't have appropriate tire clearance. And I was really smug because I had this bike as my first gravel bike called a Pinnacle. So it's like a in-house brand of a cycle chain here in the UK called Evans. And the guy that designs those bikes, James Olsen, was the same dude that made the Genesis Quad Fur, which you might have heard of, which is like pretty much the OG adventure bike, at least in the UK and parts of Europe. And it had decent clearance, and it had a lot of the features that all the bikes are now starting to move towards, just ahead of its time. And I was like, well, why do you need 650V wheels if your bike's designed right in the first place and it's spec'd with 45, so you could probably fit 47? But yeah, now I'm starting to sort of understand a bit more why people might want them, but like I've never had a problem with 700s and 40 to 45s. But then, yeah,
I like that mentality.
I beg to differ.
I made a patch called 700C Ain't Dead, and I was very proud of myself.
Nice. Let's see. Any other comments here? What trends in cycling are you excited about that you're seeing in the UK that maybe we don't have here in the US or in North America? Sorry, Eric.
That's a hard question.
or that you're seeing that are translating from here maybe over.
I think in terms of events, seeing as we don't have them at the moment, and I really miss them, the gravel enduro format is really taking off, and I think it's really amazing because, especially for the UK, because we have a lot of these like segmented areas of really good riding, but not necessarily the links in between. And the laws around racing in the UK are really weird and just make life difficult for event organizers. So the fact that you can do like a timed section on a really good bit of trail and then wait for your mates at the end, and then people of all different abilities can then ride together to the next trailhead or whatever, and then do the next part, and then basically all just have a bit of a booze up and a laugh in the evening. I think that's wicked, and a far cry from a lot of like traditional, like sporty type events where it's like you go and then you just lose your mates and you don't see them for the rest of the day.
Right.
That's how the Grinduro. Yeah, that's like how Grinduro structured is. Yeah, stages. Yeah, I think that's way better. Yeah,
it's super sociable and like everyone just hangs out and it's not that pressured. But if you want to go for it on those time segments, then you go for it, and that's really cool. So I think we're seeing more and more events go towards that format. I don't really know about other trends. You put me on the spot with that one.
You're supposed to have the finger on the pulse over there.
One thing that we don't have that you guys have is hammocking, and that's something that I go on about a lot because I'm really into it. I think the preferred method over here is usually bivvy or maybe tent, just because I guess it's just not been popularized in the past, but one of my favorite things is hanging up a hammock in really weird places, like challenge, like in the side of a marquee or between steel struts and stuff. So that's been really fun. But yeah, I can't think of any other massive trends that we have specifically that haven't come from the States.
Yeah.
I'll keep thinking on that one.
I do like the hammock life. I wanted to map out like the best trees for hammocking in Missoula because there's all these parks, and I've been pedaling around with binoculars and my hammock lately to do some birding and sleeping because that's what you do when you're a professional YouTuber, right?
you go scout out good. Go scout out good trees. Take a nap.
I gotta find a good tree to vlog at.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always have weird interests I like to combine with bikes, and I think birding's gonna start to make an appearance here and there. It's kind of relaxing, you know. It's like fishing, but you're not torturing something, which I always get comments on whenever I publish a bike fishing video.
I've never read the comments on a bike fishing video of yours, but
it's like, oh, hey there, fish torturer. Why are you gonna do that? That's usually where it goes. That comment always pops up. It's not a matter of if, but when. And I'm like, oh, it's been like 6 hours and no fish torturer comment has appeared yet. But then, damn.
Oh, I didn't check YouTube Studio.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got a good question from. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna have to scroll back. I think that you guys should answer because you've heard enough from me. About where would your dream gravel destination be if you could go anywhere in the world right now?
I would say I've been kind of eyeing Chile.
Ooh.
There seems like there's a ton of gravel and fishing also. So that's one of the draws. I know. I can't ride the bike without torturing an animal, apparently. So that would be high on our list. How about you, Eric? Any animals you like to torture while riding?
No. I actually keep very quiet about all of that because I don't want to be the pinnacle type of person that eats the way I do. So I'm not even going to mention it. But
what do you mean?
I don't eat and do stuff like that to animals. But I have always wanted.
Same, by the way.
I have always wanted to take like my core group of friends. Like it's been a dream that I always tell them. I want to take you guys for being supportive of the channel and like not making fun of it and actually supporting it. To one of the Grinduro events, and I think, what is it? Is there one in like Scotland now?
It's in Wales now.
So I think it would be really cool to take like 5 of my friends as the channel grows, pay for all their everything as a thank you, and go do that event with them, and like that is my dream. Like, there's no specific spot, but just to like take 5 friends, they don't have to worry about anything, go do that event, vlog it, is the dream. Like, whether it's there or in the US. Like when I was in high school, I was like, I want to bring my friends to Vegas. I realize that's lame now. Now I want to go for a
But
big
like
trip.
Eric, if you want to do that, like I'm your man. Like I'll take you to Vegas. I have 3 hours from Vegas. Like we'll take you. It's fine. We can ride there. We might not make it, but we can ride there.
We'll
fine.
make it. Yeah. We won't make it back, but we'll make it there.
No, I don't know if we'll make 350 miles of desert.
We'll make it.
Well, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
That would be my dream. Would be that.
How about you, Mike?
So mine is, I don't know what the riding is like where I want to go. It's just a place I've wanted to visit. So my last name is Shrewsbury. I was waiting for that. So there's a Shrewsbury like town, city, right?
Town.
Okay, and I want to go visit my castle because there's a Shrewsbury castle. I gotta go reclaim my crown and then just like put my tent in like the doorway until they give it to me, or something. I don't know. But
there's
I
a sword that
like,
you have to pull out, and then
something. There's a stone somewhere with it's the sword's in a bike tube in a wheel.
Right.
I don't know, but I want to go visit there, but I want to go like ride there, but I don't know how like that all works.
The riding is amazing.
Oh, good.
I want to see what the riding is like. My mate Molly Weaver lives up there.
Okay.
She's actually just about to start GB Duro, which is advantage on boats off road. But yeah, she's her mum and dad own a bike shop there, and she does this thing called the Cross Cartel. She puts on loads and loads of like gravel cross rides in the area, and Sandy from the Trailhead is like a UK mountain biking legend who also puts on gravel rides from there, and it's incredible, right on the Welsh border. So you will love it. And you
Well,
can't.
That sounds like a YouTube video.
So for everybody listening to this, please go support me on Patreon so I can go and visit my hometown and get my crown, and then I can really be a full-time YouTuber in the
There you
UK. So thank you very much. This is where we're going. This is what's happening. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll take us home here because it is. What time is it there right now, Catherine? It's not. It's early.
2 a.m.
Okay, 2 a.m.
But our bar is closing at 2 in Britain, or is it 3? When would it be pre-COVID? Was it 2?
I have no idea.
Okay. All right. We'll take it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Catherine. Before we sign off, is there anything you want people to know, like any channels that you want to promote for people to check out your other work?
I guess if you want to hear a little bit more about British riding, then check out Unpaved podcast. We've done 4.5 episodes so far, including one about GB Dura Race, which I just mentioned. And it's on a bit of a pause at the moment because we can't literally get within 2 meters of people to record them out on gravel rides and things, but it will be back very soon.
Cool. It looks like you've interviewed who's on here. Is that Lachlan Martin?
Yeah, he was really cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And some British frame builders and all sorts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, on that note, thank you, Catherine, again for joining us, for staying up late. I know we've been trying to get you on for the last couple of weeks and it hasn't timed up, but really excited that you made it on the show. It seems like a lot of people are familiar with you. I know I posted to our Discord server that we were going to have a mystery guest, and someone was like, "I hope it's Catherine Moore." So yeah, you're known entity across the pond.
internet famous.
Right.
Must be nice.
So thank you once again. Thanks, Mike and Eric, for goofing off. Thank you guys for staying tuned this long. And if you haven't, before you log off and watch other videos, hit the like, share, subscribe button, all that good stuff. And we will see you again next week. And good night. Night.